You know, I get excited with a lot of dirt track stories that we do because it's few and far between that actually get to come on a lot of the events. But this most recent trip got me really excited. It was an invite to come down to Texas to a hunt camp operated by Wade Middleton. Wade Middleton's a host of Yamaha's Whitetail Diaries, and it was a Yamaha sponsored event where they're looking to bring down some media partners to give them experience to hunt.
You know, I've been fortunate to work with Yamaha almost a decade now, and it's a wide-ranging area that we touch on. We do everything from helping field test and look at units out here in the field that are gonna, you know, apply to hunters, ranchers, and farmers, as well as, you know, look at safety measures and make sure people are, you know, dressing appropriately for the ride, sharing those types of messages as well. And thus, the creation of this property out here and the management of it, a lot of it is built around the need to have a test facility, not only for taking these vehicles and other products and putting them through the paces, but also for bringing people in so that they can experience whitetail hunting.
The first day, Friday, when we arrived, was basically just getting acquainted with the camp. Part of it was meeting the other invites, and also just to get acquainted with the firearms and get set up and get dialed in with regards to the accuracy of the scope and the rifle. We went up to the firing range, and Wade Middleton was great. He had everything sort of lined up for us, and he had scoped in the rifle beforehand, but he just wanted to make sure that I was comfortable with it. So literally, it was within about 3 rounds, we pretty much dialed that rifle in just perfectly, and got some tips from Wade that was pretty helpful. We were pretty much set for the next day. The strategy was basically for me to stay by Steve Nessel's side. Steve is a great guy. He's an avid outdoorsman, true enthusiast, and a lot of experience. So the first day was for me to basically go to a box blind. The box blind was really a perfect setting. It was a large area that both Steve and I can get up into. We got there early in the morning, and even before the sun rose, there was already deer on that plot.
So the first morning going out with Vern, you know, we knew, well, we had weather. Weather was a factor, to be honest with you. We knew rain was coming, and so it became about how do we get cover? You know, how can we be somewhere, be relatively comfortable? You know, with someone who's brand new to the experience, there's a couple things that you have to take into consideration. Are they comfortable? Are they excited or too excited? That's where, for me, it gets kind of funny, because when people come to Texas, they think the first deer, the first buck they see is the biggest buck they're ever gonna see. And Vern seemed pretty keen on the 8. And then we had a nice dark horned 8 come in, and he had a different style rack, but he was also a pretty good deer. If this was the last morning, we might go after that 8, but being that it was the first morning, let's just, again, get comfortable, get over the gun, see him through the scope, you know, practice putting the crosshairs in. Let's talk about a broadside shot. Let's talk about where that shot needs to go. And man, it was clicking for him.
Well, it's our first morning. We got a lot of hunts left, and I bet you we come back tomorrow, we can see him if that's the one you want. But we're gonna go on somewhere else tonight, and hopefully see maybe something a little bigger.
So that first day was really educational for me. I learned quite a bit, and also allowed me to get a lot more acquainted with what to expect when it came down to the point of me making the decision to pull the trigger.
It rained during the middle of the day really hard. So the second afternoon comes around and you strategize. Where are you gonna go in the afternoon? Why are you gonna go there? What's going on? How's Vern doing? Is he comfortable? And we knew there was a box blind on another property that we were hunting that had a pretty good 10 point on it. And you know, let's go see if we can see him.
2.5 hours in a spot that's supposedly really good. 10-point buck was spotted this morning by one of our other hunters. And what do we get? We get 5 big cattle in front of our blind just hanging out looking at us. 6.
I was pretty down after the first evening hunt, and you know, looking forward to the next morning for sure, and less rain because the weather was getting better, and we were hoping the next day the deer are going to move better, and hopefully no cows.
One of the things that Yamaha is known for is die-hard reliability. And that's something that speaks true to the hearts of any enthusiast. The vehicle that really speaks to the outdoorsman is the Viking. I mean, this is almost a purpose-built vehicle for hunting and for agricultural use. I mean, you can use it on the farm, but you can also take it out on the weekend, and you can get out to the blind as well.
And that's what we're showcasing out here, and we like to bring people in here who are going to appreciate that. They know they're going to come in and they know they're going to ride in a Viking so they can get a ride impression. They know they're going to do the same thing with the Wolverine, or take a Grizzly out and see how the vehicle performs and how it's used during the course of a hunt. But it's also about the lifestyle in general. And that's why we're out here. That's why we partnered with Wade. That's why we invite people out who are going to appreciate that. People watch hunting because they enjoy hunting and they want to live that life even when they're at home. And then we get to showcase that these Vikings are built for you. And we're out here doing the right thing in Texas or in Kansas or in Illinois or in Georgia. But out here in Texas, we have this great opportunity through Wade to really kind of stretch our legs and to be able to do that on a large scale. And we're lucky to be able to do that. And it's been a really good partnership for us, and it will be for years to come.
So as we walked out to the ground blind, right next to it was basically the mass clearing of what they used to sort of clear this food plot. And it was all these shrubs. That provided a really good backdrop as well, and a barrier from being visible to the deer. As we sort of got situated into this ground blind, we noticed almost immediately, it was probably within about 10 minutes, 2 doe and a fawn came out. So it was already pretty promising. We're already seeing a lot of activity at this scene. Shortly after that, they just bolted. And we were just like, what was that? What startled them so much? And then before you knew it, coming towards us was a black buck fawn, just started booking right towards us, leaping across the field, and went right past us. And so, I mean, that in itself was an experience. I mean, that got Steve excited. So if Steve's getting excited, I'm excited.
The next hour, a buck walks out, and I saw it. I think Vern saw it first. Vern pointed it out, and I got my binoculars up, and he's a good deer. I mean, he's a mature buck. He's by far probably the best 8 points we've seen yet. I told Vern, you know, be really careful. We probably had 8 deer in the field at that point, so be very careful, but get your gun out and get set up and get ready. You know, we might take this deer.
To have a good enough shot here to make sure that we can end this quickly for this buck. I made sure that I was not only comfortable, but that I had that confidence. And when I took that safety off that one last time, it was literally within maybe about 30 seconds of me being able to sort of line up that shot that I had the greatest confidence.
Got him. You got him, baby. Coming right at you. It's a good shot. It's a good shot. Oh, he's down.
Oh,
That's
that was
he's
awesome.
Right there. I can see him land.
And with that, I pulled that trigger and it went off. And next thing I heard was basically Steve just confirming that yes, indeed, I definitely hit that buck. And it jumped up, it turned, and then it started running right towards us. And it didn't go very far at all before he came down and he was laid to rest. That's when that adrenaline sort of just builds up.
And I knew Vern wanted to do the right thing. You know, he wanted to do the right thing by the animal. He wanted to do the right thing by the activity and about the ethics involved. And dang it if he didn't, man. And we celebrated. We celebrated in camp, and we'll celebrate the deer, and we're getting him to the processor, and he'll be celebrated, you know, for me, that's why we're out here. And yeah, we use the Viking, and we build vehicles for people to do this kind of stuff, to help them do this kind of stuff. And to come out and live it, it just, for me, reinforces exactly why we do that.
Hunting is more than just collecting a trophy. It's really about conservation. And it's about making good use of that animal and not taking it for granted. So that was the one thing that I'm walking away with the greatest amount of respect for, is not only the fun that you have with hunting, but what you take away from a responsibility standpoint.
It is just important to pass on the tradition, pass on the passion, and get people involved. And once again, I don't care whether they're 80 years old or 5-year-old. Get them outdoors, let them experience what you enjoy, and I promise you, you're gonna find very few things that are more fulfilling.
And Wade and his crew, I mean, these guys, they live together for weeks on end. More than that, it's the camaraderie that exists here at the ranch. They look at an outsider not necessarily as that person that might be like a nuisance, but someone that they can sort of enrich and have them sort of appreciate the craft of hunting the better. And these guys are just, I can honestly say that for my first hunting experience, I can't think of a better way to top it.
Like the video you just saw? Do you want to see more? Click the subscribe link and add the Dirt Tracks channel, and you're going to see a whole lot more great content.